could make this a ritual video, but I don't know yet. This is how to make people believe in your brand. It's not hard to do. I feel like people just overcomplicate it, and they do things the same way they see thousands of other brands do. And when they can't copy that strategy that brand did, they automatically just try a stupid ass way, like going in a parking lot or doing something stupid. Somebody commented on one of my YouTube videos, and they were like, "Hey, Day, I think people post in the parking lots in the random garage spaces because they don't trust themselves and they're not confident with their vision, and if their brand is big enough for somebody to believe in it." And I honestly completely agree with you. It is that. It's the you're confident enough to go make a product, build it, go do a photo shoot with no creative director at the time, and you're confident to post, but you're not confident enough to make a content strategy, make a market research moment for your brand. You're not confident enough to break down your consumer profiles. Like, that's where that real confidence comes from as a clothing brand owner. And I think people don't get that as well. So how do you make your brand believable? People don't buy because your brand is cool. A lot of people think people care about the product a lot. And I'm not saying that the consumer doesn't care at all, because when I say that, people are like, "Oh my God," y'all get a little hostile with me. And what I mean by what I'm saying is that, of course, they're going to see the product and interested in the product, but it's more to it than I just want this. It's something. Sometimes it's I want this to look like this. I want this to be like this, right? So it has to reflect something. It has to have a reflection of something in them that they want to become. Your brand should always mirror the best version of what the consumer wants to be. How do you become a mirror? How do you mirror their best version, image, person, location, vibe? How do you mirror that? If you can mirror that for that consumer, that's when you create that belief system, because they believe that you are taking them to a better version of themselves. It's very simple, but it's hard for people to lock in on, because to create a better world for your consumer, you have to break down that consumer to basically like a fucking unbuilt Lego, and you got to put the pieces together. I think a lot of people in the first stages of them building something, they build a product, right? And they're like, "This is my product. This is cool." And that I like to call them diary brands, or they're nonprofit brands, because it's just a product. When you go from out of that mindset and you start saying, "I need to build a POV for my consumer, a point of view for my consumer, for them to follow and be like a river and go down," that's when you unlock something else. You're going to stop caring about views so much. You're going to stop caring about if I have X amount of followers so much. All you're going to care about is making that consumer so in love with the belief that you have a great point of view that they agree with, and that they agree with everything you say after they've seen your brand and see the compounding effect that you have on them, right? So to me, when people say branding, okay, we get it. Anybody can make a great brand, but can you make somebody believe in that shit? Most of the time, no. Most of the time, people don't understand like that aura shit. How do you put aura in a brand? It's very hard to do. A lot of people can't do it because they stick with it. This is my product. This is what I'm selling. And buy that shit, bitch. That's how a lot of brand owners come at things. And it's like, you have to step back and be like, "Hey, no. How do I set myself apart? And how do I become a belief system that they could follow?" Again, I've always said this, like, create a religion for your brand. How do you make somebody believe so much that they will start doing rituals for you? The baptism, the christening, all that shit. How do you get to that point, right? And what makes a brand believable? It's a consistent voice, a reason bigger than the product, and a content system that repeats the same truth in 100 ways. I always tell people, look at my content on my YouTube channel. I'm not saying the same thing in every video, but I kind of am looping around it and maybe give people newer hints each time. I'm not afraid to say that. That's marketing. How do you say the same thing thousands of times? How do I keep telling you the same thing? And I flip it based on and I flip it sometimes just to get you, reel you back in. How do you do that? A content system, a content strategy, consumer profiles, energy branding, understand what the consumer is feeling. How do you make them feel something when they wear your brand? A consistent voice, right? And the main three ways that I know for a fact makes a brand believable is one core rant. And what I mean by that is, you have your brand. What is that one thing that y'all can yap about forever? About your brand, though. It has to be in the world of your brand. What is the one core rant that you can consistently talk about? One thing you can consistently talk about. As you guys know, I love Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren, I think one of his quotes is, "America was my fashion school," right? You think Ralph Lauren, God bless America. That's all you think it. That's where you're gonna go. You're not gonna go anywhere else. You're gonna go there. One core rant that you can consistently talk about, consistently yap about, consistently talk shit about. Build rituals around the POV that you are trying to take your consumer down. The content and the customer experience is based on the rituals that you give them for their POV. Are we getting that? And then the last one, which is just as important, this one's super important. Make sure everything you post sounds like one person with one truth. Now, I know brands have teams, a collective, and a community vibe, but you have to understand how a consumer is consuming your content. When I talk to y'all, I say y'all, but I low-key, I know the way I'm speaking, it probably feels like I'm talking to just you right now. The one person watching this video behind the phone or laptop or TV. It feels like I'm talking to just you, right? It's designed that way because it has to feel one-on-one for anything to click in your head. You can't feel like I'm giving my energy to everybody. You can't feel like I'm giving the same story to everybody. Even though you see that there's some subscribers down there, you know that there's more people watching me, but still to you it has to feel like you're only locked in with, it's me and you right now. You use that with that core rant, you will become one of the cult brands that you desire to be. It's very much an organization issue. That's why people don't believe in your brand. You don't know which way to go. You have no idea where to put the location of your brand at, what the consumers feel and look like. It's chaotic. It's chaos. So when it comes to chaos in a chaotic brand, when it's not done right, it creates that nonprofit diary brand. The diary brand is all those chicken scratch notes you wrote in your notebook saying that you want to start a brand. Then you literally create that and show it online, and then you expect thousands of views because you thought your one idea was so powerful. When that's not the case. It's a compounding of you figuring out the consumer, figuring out where your brand is, figuring out who you are, and then you hone in on that and you make that one core rant, and you make sure that rant feels like it's just a one-on-one rant. Consumer and the brand versus the world. That's how you make your brand believable. And I'm doing a sale right now, if you didn't know. All my stuff on my site is pretty cheap. Again, brand clarity is probably the one thing that when people review me on what I did, they say, you made it clearer. You made it clearer. They all say I made them have a clear vision on their brand, on the growth, on the content. They understand from what I was talking to them about or what I was saying to them or typed out. They understand that, okay, now I know what's next. Sometimes the puzzle pieces are there. You just need somebody to screw them. You just need somebody to put them together. I'm down. I'm there for y'all. And I'll see you guys in the next video.